The conference room went silent. 20 people sat frozen as Mark Reynolds leaned back in his leather chair, smirked, and said loudly, "Let's be honest, Daniel. If you were actually good, you wouldn't still be sitting in that chair after 5 years." A few people laughed nervously. Daniel Carter didn't. He stood there, holding his presentation remote, face calm, but his hands were shaking. Mark continued, "You're replaceable. Anyone here could do your job. Maybe even better." Daniel slowly nodded. "Understood," he said quietly, and he walked out. What Mark didn't know, what no one in that room knew, was that within 6 months, the same boss who humiliated him would be on his knees, begging Daniel for help. Daniel Carter wasn't loud. He didn't fight for attention. He didn't interrupt meetings. He didn't brag. He was the kind of employee bosses often overlook, not because he lacked talent, but because he didn't advertise it. Daniel worked as a senior systems analyst at a mid-sized tech company in Chicago. The company specialized in logistics software for retail chains, tracking inventory, predicting shortages, managing supply chains. Daniel was the backbone. Whenever something broke, he fixed it. Whenever data didn't add up, he found the error. Whenever a system crashed at 2 a.m., Daniel answered the phone. But praise? That always went to someone else, especially Mark Reynolds. Mark Reynolds was everything Daniel wasn't. Confident, loud, aggressive. Mark believed leadership meant dominance. He thought fear created respect. And he loved reminding employees who had power. He'd say things like, "Don't get comfortable here. You should be grateful you have a job. People like you are easy to replace." At first, Daniel ignored it. He had a wife, a daughter, bills to pay. So he stayed quiet. But silence doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes it means patience. The day of the insult was supposed to be a turning point. Daniel had spent weeks designing a new system architecture, one that could save the company millions by preventing outages and scaling faster with fewer servers. This was his moment. Halfway through the presentation, Mark interrupted. "Daniel, cut the technical stuff. No one cares." Daniel paused. "I believe it's important to understand the long term." Mark laughed. "There you go again. Overthinking. You always do this." People shifted in their seats. Mark leaned forward. "Let me be clear. You're not leadership material. You lack presence. You lack confidence. And frankly, you lack impact." That's when he said it. "If you were actually good, you wouldn't still be here after 5 years." That sentence didn't just insult Daniel. It erased him. Daniel didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't defend himself. He simply walked out. That night, at home, his wife noticed something different. "You okay?" she asked. Daniel nodded. But later, when everyone was asleep, he opened his laptop. And for the first time in 5 years, he updated his resume. Daniel didn't quit dramatically. No angry email. No speech. No goodbye post on LinkedIn. He gave 2 weeks' notice. Mark barely looked up. "Good luck," Mark said casually. "You'll realize how hard it is out there." Daniel smiled politely. Inside, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Relief. 3 months later, Daniel was working at a smaller startup. Different culture. Different energy. People listened when he spoke. They asked for his opinion. They respected his work. Within weeks, Daniel noticed something familiar. The startup had a serious flaw in its system, one that reminded him of his old company. He fixed it. The CEO noticed. Then investors noticed. 6 months later, Daniel was promoted to head of systems architecture. His designs began spreading across the industry. And that's when fate intervened. Back at Daniel's old company, things were falling apart. The systems started crashing. Orders were delayed. Retail clients were furious. Millions were being lost. Mark shouted at everyone, "No excuses. Fix it." Why is this happening? No one had an answer. Because Daniel was gone. And with him, the invisible knowledge no one appreciated. An emergency board meeting was called. An external consultant reviewed the systems and said something that made Mark's stomach drop. "Who designed your original architecture?" Mark swallowed. "Daniel Carter." The room went quiet. The consultant continued. He warned you about these failures, didn't he? No one answered. That night, Mark sat alone in his office. He stared at Daniel's old number saved in his phone. He hesitated, then dialed. Daniel? Mark said, forcing confidence. It's Mark. A pause. Yes, Daniel replied calmly. We were facing some challenges, Mark said. We could really use your expertise. Another pause. You said I was replaceable, Daniel replied. Mark closed his eyes. I was wrong. Silence. Can we meet? Mark asked quietly. Daniel thought for a moment. Yes, he said. We can meet. They met in a cafe. No office.
No titles.
No power. Just two men at a small table. Mark looked different. Tired. Smaller. I owe you an apology, Mark said. I disrespected you. I underestimated you. And I let my ego destroy something valuable. Daniel listened. We're on the edge of losing everything, Mark continued. And I know you're the only one who can help. Daniel took a sip of coffee. I can help, he said, but not the way you expect. Daniel laid out his terms. He wouldn't return as an employee. He wouldn't take orders from Mark. He wouldn't tolerate disrespect. He would help as an external consultant, with full authority, at triple his old salary. Mark hesitated, then nodded.
Done.
Because pride means nothing when failure is staring you in the face. Daniel worked day and night. He diagnosed issues, redesigned processes, trained engineers. He spoke calmly, clearly, confidently. People listened. Within weeks, the system stabilized.
Clients dead.
Losses slowed. The company survived. And in every meeting, Mark sat quietly, listening, learning. On Daniel's last day as consultant, Mark pulled him aside. I want you to know, Mark said, voice low, this experience changed me. Daniel nodded. Good, he said. As he walked out, Mark said something unexpected. I'm sorry it took losing you to understand your value. Daniel turned. Some lessons, he said, are expensive. And he left. The moral. Power doesn't make you a leader. Respect does. The boss thought authority came from fear. The employee proved strength comes from patience, skill, and self-worth. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Never humiliate the people who hold your foundation. And never forget, the same person you step on today might be the one you beg tomorrow.